Hello, everybody. Welcome to Black Talk Show. I have Coach Jeanine, I have Debra Hamilton, and I have Demetrius Wilson, Pastor Demetrius Wilson. And I also have, I see Tracy coming in, Tracy Conyers coming in. So I would like to, each one of them to introduce themselves and then tell a little bit about their business, and then we'll start the conversation. The conversation today is, let's pull up a chair and build. Okay, Coach Jeanine, would you like to go first?
Sure. Thank you so much, Coach Tina, for having us. I was looking forward for this opportunity to come on your show. My name is Coach Jeanine. I am definitely glad that this topic is about really pull a chair and really come to build. So I'm excited. I'm the founder of a With You solution. So I'm glad to be here today and the founder of Umoja Mag. Thank you for having us today. Thank you so much, Coach Tina.
You're welcome.
My name is Debra Barnes-Hamilton. I am your relationship and intimacy coach. I love what I do. I am CEO and founder of Nurture Your Love. And what I'm focusing on right now is for it's married women. So hopefully through this conversation, we're going to learn more about how we're showing up for our businesses and how we're showing up for each other.
Pastor Demetrius, you want to come off on camera?
Okay, so I'm en route to my location. It was a little bit delayed coming from work this evening, but my name is Pastor Demetrius Wilson. That's what I've been called to do as a shepherd. But as far as the business is concerned, I am the founder of Kingdom Covenant. We'll first start off as tax preparation, but now developed into Kingdom Covenant Enterprises. And so, of course, we provide tax preparation, but we're actually moving into the realm of tax planning and real estate and that sort of different thing like that. And so we're excited about having the opportunity to have this conversation tonight and to share. And we're looking forward to just, I guess, the series of conversations on how we can work together and partner together and build what we need to build.
You there? You done? I can't hear you. You.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tracy, you would like to come on camera? Tracy. She got a mic off. So I guess we'll go on. So this conversation is about, let's pull up a chair and build. The Montgomery thing happened, and they actually came together, and they came together for a different reason, for someone jumping on somebody. But this conversation is about us coming together as business owners. And we pulling up a chair and discuss how we can come together and build each other's up, not just our business, but whatever we got on collaboration, whatever that we can do to help each other, because you are all individual and you all have something special and unique about you that no one else can copy. So let's just come together and build each other up instead of tearing each other down. That is my goal. I'm always about encouraging people and sharing what you do, because I'm me and you're you, and we can't copy each other. We're totally different people. We talk different, we act different, we have some of the same similarities, but we're still different. And you can bring something different to the table that I can't bring to the table, and I can bring something to the table that you can't. So let's just come together. This is what this conversation about. So if each one of you would like to add something to the conversation, how we can do that, even include your business, how we can help collaborate with you or help you build your business, just each person get a chance to talk and tell us a little bit about how we can help you and how we can build. Let's sit down. This is a conversation for us all to sit down and talk about how businesses can grow and build together. So anyone wants to go first?
I can go.
Okay.
So I'm really glad that we're talking about this, because this is really the core of my business. Again, I'm gonna say this is with you solution, which is a global platform that we usually bring leaders from different background and just different expertise coming together, because we believe in unity. And my magazine, it's Umoja Mag. Umoja means unity, and that's really one of the reasons why I so love Coach Tina, because she also have that spirit of unity coming together. There's no competition. There's a room for all of us, and especially in the body of Christ, I feel this is something we really need to live by example every single day. This is really needed to see leaders who coming together to lift up each other, not just to tear people apart. So that's something that I love to talk about. And in my business, we do, take time to do assessment and making sure that, we are matching the leaders who are from different places, because I only speak 4 languages only. So to me, it's really a pleasure to me to meet different leaders who are coming from different places, and to be able to match them and to start a process to see them grow, see them really network together. Because just like what Coach Tina said, what she has, I don't have it. And I love for her to be part of my journey, so we can be able to help more people. I know that I'm so excited, because in this venture that we're going to be doing in my magazine, she's going to be a really key player for so many other women, because I don't have what she has. She works with different people on business plan or different things. She's going to be giving that. And to me, it's a joy to see that Coach Tina, she can be able to come in and to do, and me too, vice versa. So the body of Christ or our community need to see more of that. So I just wanted to give that example. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah,
Debra.
I'm gonna add to what Coach Jeanine is saying, because none of us would be here if it wasn't for Tina. So Tina has talk about collaboration. Tina has truly brought us together for collaboration on all kinds of things, and especially her magazine. I'm able to share my voice through her magazine, and I'm able to reach more people because of her magazine, and because of all the different things that she finds out about and she lets us know about. So all those things are amazing. And I love that, because as a relationship and intimacy coach, my whole goal is to continue to inspire women, to help them to find who they want to be, where they want to go in their life, and also all the things that they could possibly think of when it comes to relationships, because I want everyone to have a great relationship. And so my goal is to help as many, like I was saying earlier, I focus on married women, but I also work with other women who are not married with my self-love workshop. However, one of my main focus right now is talking about intimacy in marriage. A lot of us lose that intimacy in long-term marriages. And I am really working hard to help women to find themselves, to get that spark again in their relationship, because we all can rejuvenate, right? We all can, we settle, or we have that status quo relationship. And I don't want you to have a status quo relationship. I don't want it to be stagnant. I want it to be exciting. I have a very exciting marriage, right? And I want it for you. I want you to be happy in your marriage. I want you to be happy in your relationship. And as a coach, that's what I'm all about. I want you to be able to find yourself, to understand yourself, so that you can add to your marriage, right? So that you can add some more intimacy or think out the box, because that's what I'm all about. I'm all about thinking outside the box when it comes to relationships. So between Tina allowing us to be a part of her life, what she brings to the table, and then being able to collaborate. I would love to collaborate with more women in what they're doing, because collaboration means that we can get into each other's audience, right? So that is promoting each other in whatever ways we possibly can, but we're able to support each other. And that's the key. We all want to support each other, and I'm all for it. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Pastor Demetrius, I don't know if you want me to say, I just say Demetrius Wilson.
Like, it's fine. That's what's on the birth certificate, so that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my business, of course, is one of the oldest professions that's around as it relates to, like, doing tax preparation. What we've discovered and learned over the last few years, though, is that tax preparation is really just kind of one phase of a myriad of different services, whatever that could be offered to help and to support. One of the things that I found as a tax preparer, or just a person who's actually doing that, is I find a lot of times that, a lot of people are sometimes getting back quite a bit of money at one time. And a lot of this money that they're getting, probably in some cases, believe it or not, is a good percentage of what they be making for the year. And as I'm kind of looking at some of the behavior patterns of what happens when we get like all of this lump sum of money, a lot of times what happens with that money is not necessarily something that is productive. And so trying to really look at that and expand how we really rethink what we do with the resources that we have in our hands. And so that's kind of where I am as it relates to providing the tax service, and then expanding that to understand that tax planning really is a very effective way to actually build business, where that business kind of extends beyond just those few months that we have of the tax season. And you get into tax planning, where you're actually showing individuals how to save on their taxes, because a lot of times people that are in business, they file their taxes quarterly. So you actually get in to help them to save as much money on their taxes as possible going into each quarter, so that just kind of helps them, help the bottom line in a great way. But as far as like the networking, what I do understand, and I do want to echo the sentiments of those who came before me to say that Ms. Tina has been a champion as it relates to trying to build and trying to network. One of the wisest statements that is in the text of scriptures in the book of Ecclesiastes, where it says 2 is better than 1 because they have a greater reward for their labor. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that I can do as an individual. I can be successful, and I can, have a degree of success as an individual. But what I'm finding in the business community, in the business world, especially among those of us who are African Americans, a lot of us are starting what are first generation businesses. This means somebody did not pass this down to me.
Yes.
This is something that I started from nothing, right? And so I'm using what I have, the education and the resources and stuff that I have available to me. I'm utilizing that, but there are so many more people that are a part of a community, that's a part of a collective, who have a lot that they probably could offer to support me in the business that I'm in, support me in the efforts that I'm making, and actually will cause me to actually build more success. This is something that is a story across the board. Every group that decides to come together and, pull their resources together. I think I was watching a documentary. It's one of my favorite things to watch. I was watching a documentary the other day of a group of African American people who decided to pull their resources together. And I can't remember exactly where it was now, but they decided that they were going to purchase land. And I think they purchased over 500 and some acres together. And then they are working to kind of build a little city, their own little city. Not that it's about excluding the other person, but it's about understanding a lot of us are coming from just nowhere. I know y'all are probably familiar with that statement that Martin Luther King made about bootstraps, saying about pulling us up. We need to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. We don't even have boots, And so a lot of us are coming from that place, and we're starting first generation businesses, something that we want to pass down and keep going. And then a lot of us are working with less than 10 employees. So it requires us to be able to have more of a cohesion, more of a cooperation, more of a collaboration, because we'll be able to build more success whenever we come together in that way. So that's why I'm so passionate about doing what I can to make sure we build those networks, tie in together, build those strong partnerships, and develop those relationships so that we can collectively together have the success that we really can truly have as people, collective people, versus just individuals trying to go at it.
Yes. Okay, I was gonna ask you, Demetrius, they're gonna have a new thing for LLCs that they're going to pay additional fees next year for next year, 2024. Did you hear about that?
I have heard some things about it. I have to do a little homework and dig into it a little bit more and just kind of find out a little bit more details and stuff like that about that. But I do know that there are some changes. One of the funny things about, any kind of laws that have to do with business, especially like tax laws, one of the funny things is I find sometimes even during tax season, the tax law is changing. Like it is a constant changing thing. And a lot of times people are not up to date or abreast or aware of what some of those changes are. And they could be negatively impacting you. They could be a positive change or an impact, but those are some of the things that we try to keep aware of. And that's another thing that I'm just kind of looking into to try to make sure we can just kind of cascade that information. That's kind of the direction we're going to be kind of taking with our articles in the magazine, just kind of cascading that information and putting it out there so that we can be in the know. There's so many things that are available that we just
don't know.
In the know,
Yeah.
And so as we build again those networks and those collectives, we get access to that information. I sat in on some meetings that really blew my mind. And one of the first things I did was I kind of called some people on the phone. I was like, listen, we all need to sit down and have a conversation. I mean, I was sitting in and listening to these people talk about how much economic resource is like flowing into the community that a lot of people are just not aware of.
Yes.
And that the opportunities that it's going to provide, and maybe it would inspire somebody probably to start a business that could put them in the funnel of where all those funds and stuff like that are flowing, because the people who are in the know, they're the ones who are, pulling on it and
getting the money. Yeah.
And they're getting the money. It's like, man, it is out there and it is available. One of the things I try to tell people, the Father's he's not raining any more money from heaven. Everything that we need to do, all the resources already here. We just have to get in the flow of where it is, right? We have to get in the flow of where it is so we can actually be able to extract what we're supposed to extract from it. We don't, if we do what we do, the Bible says in Psalm 1 that we get to the point to where we, how we seek the Lord and, blessed is the man, doesn't walk in the counsel of the ungodly. But the end of verse 3 says, whatever he does will prosper. So we want to get to that place to where we're doing what we can do to actually see us, pull on some of these briefs. Because man, I'm telling you, it blew my mind, some of the stuff. I just
by doing work through SCORE is so much that we don't have a clue about. If I just tell it all, but it's just so much, but we just don't have a clue. But I'm trying to educate, but I just need people to come so they can get educated on some of the things that I found out through working through SCORE. But not just that, I was talking about the LLC. Next, I think it's in 2024, it's going to be a $500 fee if you don't fill out this certain form. If you don't fill out this form, the fee is going to be $500 if you don't fill out this form, if you have an LLC. It's some kind of thing they're coming down with for some kind of record keeping, or I guess to verify that you are actually a business. Or they're coming down with something that if we don't all know, we need to start doing our research, because it's coming, and it's going to be a $500 fee if you don't fill out that form if you have an LLC.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
that's really good to know.
Yeah, it's some they trying to, I guess, to make sure that business are legit, or they're not just out here saying that they got a business. Because you can have a business, say you have a business, but you don't have a DBA, you don't have a LLC, you don't have license. Some states require you to have license. Some states require you to have a tax sales sales tax. It's a lot of people don't have all that stuff, and this is their way of cracking down on all that stuff. So if they're trying to keep you down, but we got to stick together, come together, so we can stay up and build out.
Absolutely. And I just want to, just comment, and with all of you guys, you just said amazing things. And I just want to also add a little bit. I always love this. I love quotes. So anything with quotes, I just love that. So this is a African proverb. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, you always have to go together. This is what Coach Tina been doing since I've known you,
Yes.
So just to say that, this is an African proverb that I live by, and I always ask God to help me, because this is really also true leadership. So many people get confused. That I usually say that I see a lot of managers, not leaders. Because when you're a leader, you lead you bring solution, you lift everybody up. But when you manage something, that's why, because a lot of leaders or a lot of people, they think that, having a position, having a title, that's leadership. That's really not. It's really about bringing people somewhere, bringing the solution. I'm glad what the pastor just mentioned about what he does in the community, about preparing people for taxes. That's what many of us, many of the people that I really, came across, because I'm also in the real estate. I see how we ask them for 2 years taxes. You're gonna that for a week for them to go and get it, and just they unorganized. So I was like, wow, this is another need. So as a leader, that's what we come together, you help people. So I'm so excited, because this is what we're doing. We're not going alone, but we're coming together because we know we can help more, and we can be able to really bring the impact that we want to see in our community. So I just wanted to add that.
Yes. Okay. I think I've seen Tracy. Tracy, did you want to come on? Your mic is off.
Hi, yes. How are y'all today?
All right, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, yes, my name is Tracy Conyers. I am a realtor. I'm licensed in Texas and Louisiana. I have 18 years of licensing experience, and I was a loan officer for about 10 years before I became a realtor. So I've been in real estate a good bit. And one of the things that I've been finding is, it's just not, it hasn't just been a race or a thing to just get people in to buy homes. It's a lot of people that are hurting. So I find myself being a counselor. So I thank God for, having to be able to be in the word and being able to pray and all of those things, because people are hurting. They don't understand the value of credit. So it's been a lot of things just being able to teach and have time to teach them, because a lot of people are lost, even going through issues in the family, the kids, and so whenever I was praying about it, God put it on my heart that start teaching how to become whole. It's very important to start off with the people in the household. You got to be, us, the adults need to be whole. And how do we do that? Basically learning first, being in the churches. Like I said, if with me not being knowing the word of God and being, I'm like, wow, I guess, but I'm glad for the foundation of my grandparents bringing me there. We talked about that in the church, because it's like, of course I done went out. And then, but I never, even though I'd go to the clubs and party hardy on Sundays, though I was in church, I was still not trying to lose myself. I knew that was the foundation of where I needed to be. And so it's just so much going on in the community, and without the families being whole, then the businesses won't be as successful. A lot of things just not gonna are falling apart, and people go to and fro, just spending money, investing in everything and everybody else, and not investing in themselves. The lady called me today, and I was like, what? Just in Sacramento, California, she's ready to come back to Beaumont because she's paying $2,800 a month rent for a 2-bedroom apartment with 5 kids.
Oh my.
I'm like, oh my God, what? Yeah, you need to come on back home, honey, because the $2,800 for 2 bedrooms, it's just sucking the income out. And then, like I said, we have to, taking care of the kids and taking care of family, then having to go out and, investing into things that we think are free. Even whenever people going on these cruises, a man told me, he said, you go on the cruise and everything is free. And I'm like, you can't believe that, right? You can't. You can't believe that all inclusive doesn't mean it's free. It's just giving you an advantage to go as you please up to it, but you paid for that. Don't think that it's just not something that you did not pay for. So I'm like, the education, we got to get the mind right.
Yeah.
So things can start happening in the family. Then once the heads get right, the head, or if it's there, you know, whoever it is, the woman or the man of the household is right, then we can develop the kids. So whenever they're coming up, they can have an understanding. It's just getting for people to come out, like you said, because I know back in about before COVID, tried having a women empowerment and maybe like 3 people showed up. So it just depends on how people are wanting to receive and what they're really wanting to get out of life. But when you talk about credit, people running scared. You know, people were dancing at my table last week. I was at the convocation. They were like, oh, yes, I'm ready to sign up for home ownership. So I went through 20 people that signed up. And guess how many people responded back to me regarding that? 0. But
Yeah.
you're excited and oh yeah, I'm ready to get started and all of that. So, you know, we just have to continue to pray and, you know, help empower people as much as we
Yes.
can, whoever we come into contact with, that we do be in front of, to help them with that and let that, because like I said, you know, at first it can't just be about real estate, because really that is the ultimate goal for the wealth building. For you, that's one of the most important purchases that you will find. And there's still so many myths even about that. And we have grants that are paying down payment. They're paying people down payment, you know,
Yes.
0 money, you know, not coming up with nothing for their down payment and then getting their closing costs paid. So they're winning. But even they see that on Facebook or they miss it.
Yeah.
Why you posting and things like that, you know? So I don't know, but you know, it's just, we just have to get the community and get people whole so we can all be successful and we all become whole, because as long as they keep investing here and, you know, in the community and things like that, then everybody can become whole. You know, we can
Yeah.
all prosper.
Yeah. And I think about, you know, segregation. I think that was to separate the home, where the fathers weren't in the homes, where moms were raising the kids. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with just a woman raising the kids, but it's nothing like a man raising a man. It's nothing like a woman raising a woman. And it's vice versa. Sometimes men are raising all the kids. Sometimes women are raising all the kids. And I mean, it's just important, like what Debra does, marriage. That is so important for to build up the family. Start with they have to be whole themselves. She talk about being whole them you know, woman being whole. So she and somebody need to talk to the men. The men need to be whole as well.
Right, I agree.
Yes. Yeah. So
Exactly.
because if we get the household whole, then when they venture out to start a new business and they start it together, they can all prosper and, you know, bring the kids in. Like when you have a business, you have small kids, bring your kids in, hire your kids as employees, give them that 12,000, whatever that allowance, and that's going to help you. It's coming back in your house. So why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? So I mean, it's like, it's so much that can be taught, been told to people to do, but it's just hard to get them to come in to get fed. I just want to feed them.
Right.
And
That's
I
the
just come in and get the information. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm
Right.
always about helping. So I mean, it's just like we just need to come together some kind of way. I mean, like I said, we all are different. We all bring something different to the table. Like Deborah's with marriage. Coach Jeanine is coaching. We are partners now. We're collaborating on the magazine, and we have some more projects coming up. And then I know Demetrius is in my magazine, and he talks about men. I want him to come in and do some kind of workshop for men. I mean, I got all kind of ideas. I'm just telling you.
But Demetrius, let me tell you, I have men in my Facebook group. So you let me know when you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
And I put it on in my Facebook group. Just if men would be interested in showing up for what you're bringing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is called collaboration. So,
yeah.
you know, you just let me know what you're doing, you know, because I have a married couples group, my Facebook group, and there are conversations, you know, and men are, sometimes they participate, sometimes they don't, but they're in there, right?
Yeah. And I think if another man talking to them, like, you know, maybe they'll come along. Because me, a woman telling them about, I can't tell a man how to be a man. A man has to come in and tell them some things that I could not possibly tell them. So, I mean, and like, but even though us talking to other women, we still have trouble getting them to come in and do what we asking them to do. It's not, we're not doing anything to hurt them. We ain't doing something to encourage them, help them. Like even Tracy will need you to come in and talk credit, talk out home ownership. I mean, we just gotta, if we just come together and bring all our apples and to build. If we have built our own community where we're all prospering, we all helping each other, we all networking together, we all just building each other up. Because I mean, like she said, the African proverb, we can't do it alone, y'all. I'm telling you, we'll go further. I mean, all other races, they do it together. They might not seem like they're doing it together, but they're doing it together. If you see all these little stores around here that have other races in them, they pass it down family to family. They take it out of one family name and put it in another family name just to keep the tax write-off. That's what they're doing it for. But we don't have a sense enough to, I guess maybe some of us do, but I mean, so we don't have sense enough to do that. I'm not in competition with you. Like if I have a hair store here and you have a hair store here, let's collaborate. Instead of one of us closing down because the other one wouldn't support, or we telling them don't go to their store. What kind of stuff is that?
Yeah.
If I'm a coach, Coach Jeanine is a coach, we're collaborating. We're not trying to tear each other down. We just building each other up.
Yes.
You know, the interesting thing that I'm even hearing over the course of this conversation, which by the way, you got it on the men. I'm trying not to let the cat out of the bag too much right now, but I actually have been writing. This is like a book that I'm writing. I've been working on it for a minute, and because I really wanted to be really, really solid. But I'm working on a book. Now, this book centers around parenthood, but specifically fatherhood. Because that's just on the side of ministry, because I understand, you know, when I'm looking at my children and then I'm looking at children who don't really have, you know, their fathers and stuff like that in their lives and in their house, it's like, man, you know, oh my gosh, you know, but of course you can't look in the word and not see, you know, what the father's intention was, his plan, his purpose. Just because things go awry does not mean that the father did not have a perfect intention and perfect plan, you know, for things. And as you all are talking, I'm like really reminded of certain things. I'm in a series right now at the fellowship, and I'm teaching on, I've probably been in about maybe 4 or 5 weeks now, but I've been teaching on matters of the heart and the mind. Scripturally, the heart and the mind are really kind of synonymous, really in so many different ways, but without going into that. But one of the hallmark scriptures that we're utilizing is from Proverbs chapter 4:23. In the King James, it says, guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the issues of life. That translation that I have, the Hebrew translation says, above everything else, guard your heart because it is the source of life's consequences.
Yes.
And what we really have to understand, and the statement that I made behind, you know, introducing that, was what we have to understand according to what that scripture is telling us. Whatever is in our heart is going to be in our life. That's the reality of it. If it's in my heart, it's going to be in my life. And a lot of times we're trying to, you know, fix it from the external side, from what's outside of us. But really, if I want to fix my life, I got to fix my heart and, you know, fix my mind and that sort of thing. And I have processes by which I can do that. One of the things we learned from the children of Israel is when they left Egypt, they could have actually gotten to the promised land real quick because it really was like a day's journey. But the Bible says that God led them the long way around. He took them through the wilderness on purpose. And the reason he took them through the wilderness was because if they had gone straight from Egypt where they were slaves and got to the promised land where they were giants, you find out in Numbers 13 and 14 that they still had a certain mentality. They still thought like slaves because they got over there and they were like complaining about you a day's journey. You went in there and saw grapes and everything. You brought some of the stuff back that he said was in there, right? If he's telling you it's houses you didn't build, vineyards you didn't plant, wells you didn't dig, that's telling you somebody's over there, right? So that's telling you. But they would have literally become slaves in the promised land. Because what we have to understand, and this is how it was revealed to me, you can free a person from an experience. But if you don't free them from the mentality, they continue the experience.
That's right.
Over and over and over again. And so there's a lot of things that we can be honest about in the reality of the vestiges that are left from, you know, the experience of our ancestors through slavery and then Reconstruction and then Jim Crow, and then just, you know, a continuation and myriad of things that we've all had to experience and we all are sometimes feeling the effects of. But the reality is that sometimes is that we haven't escaped the mentality, you know, that is making us continue to say the things we say, do the things we do. Like, why don't we trust each other more? Like, it's a mentality, right?
Yeah.
There's a thing that's in there that we really have to look at and say, hey, let's take an examination. Let's go back and reevaluate and let's understand why. You know, one of the things I looked at when I saw the happening over in Alabama was when I looked at it, I said, man, here's the thing. I know there's a lot of things that surrounded it, but what it showed me was that innately in us is the right stuff that will cause us, if we turn it on right, will really cause us to come together. It really will. I mean, nobody had to beg and ask. Just automatically, that was the response. Everybody kind of started to jump in when they saw how things were going. They just jumped in, right?
Yes.
But then it also showed that we actually have energy. We actually have passion that we have available. If we took that same passion and we took that same drive and turned it and say, look, man, look, just the way everybody came running when the fight was going on, what if you started a business and everybody came running?
Yes. That's what
Say, hey, man, how can I jump in, you know, and make this more successful? How can I contribute to your business as if it was my own?
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, what if we did that? None of us will be broke.
Yes, because we're like the biggest, we buy more than any other. We spend more money. We spend it on anything we want to spend it on, whether it's shoes, clothes. That's our big thing. We want shoes and clothes, but we don't want to buy. What makes the department store in the mall better than your fellow Black entrepreneur? I mean, what makes it better? Because actually, in all reality, they probably buying it from them, from a wholesaler from one of those companies anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same thing. So why can't you go support that particular business?
Right.
Instead of having to go to the mall. The mall ain't make it no better. They bought it from the same vendor.
Right. Right. I tell people that. I tell people that when they come, I often encourage, like I said, when they get this lump sum of money, oh my gosh, you can see it. It's like I'm going to get my nails done. I'm going to get my hair did. I'm going to go blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go buy me a $600 cell phone, you know, and that kind of stuff like that. Nobody thinks about, well, I'm not going to say nobody, but a lot of people don't think about, I need to get an insurance policy, you know, life insurance policy. We don't think about, hey, you know, maybe I can buy some gold or silver. Maybe I can learn how to start investing in the stock market. Maybe I can, you know, start looking at some things that maybe will, you know, build wealth. And I tell people sometimes, I say, hey, is there something you want to do? You know, I'll ask them because, you know, kind of like, is there something you want to do? Like, you know, since you get ready to get to I don't want to be nosy, but you know, what you playing? You know, what you want to do? Oh man, you know, I think I want to go get me some new Jordans. I'm like, okay, well, just consider this for a moment. I said, do you see what I'm doing? Well, you know, I'm doing taxes. So yeah, do you know how I got started doing taxes? I took some of the money that I got from a tax return and I purchased the software and I started learning the software and I started building the business. And you know what? The very first tax return that I did paid me back for the money that I spent on the software.
Yes.
I mean,
Amen.
it's there. It is. We just gotta.
Yes.
We gotta change this mindset.
Mhm. Yeah.
I just want to also to piggyback on what Pastor just said about we need to do a better job at really keeping the dollars in the Black community. It doesn't stay that long. It stay in the
Yes.
Jewish community, in the Asian community, but in our community, it only stay, I don't know, 1 or 2 times it says, I forgot how the statistic says, but we need to do a better job to really buy from each other so we can be able to grow this work, and everything start with the mindset. So I'm glad what all of us are doing, but specifically for what Pastor is doing, Pastor Demetrius, because this is very, very important to be able to sit down, educating our community and the client. And this is what I see in a real estate, same thing, that whenever, people are really excited about the house, but to me, I always go back and say, okay, can we sit down now and do the budgeting? So that's another thing that you have to really, kind of be able to educate them. I mean, there's so many things that we have to do, but we have to make sure, that we do, make sure that they have the information, the community, they have the information, and to be able to guide them, because many of them, I made some mistake in the past. I said, well, I don't know about I said, no, the credit is not an issue. If it's a credit, let's have a game plan, And even though I give them a game plan, guess what? After 2 weeks, I follow up with them. And I say, okay, how about that? Are we still on the game plan or we need to tweak a little bit? So you have to be passionate about that, really helping the people step by step, because if you let them just figure things out, you're going to be surprised. I had so many people that they have to close in 30 days and they went and purchased some furniture or some. I said, you can't do that. So it was really so many stories that you have to educate, say you cannot, because they are watching your account. So you can be purchasing any things like that, So it's really about educating our people.
Yes, but education is probably the key, and we want to feed them. If they just want the information, we have a wealth of knowledge just on here alone that we can help somebody. If we won't help one person or two people, it doesn't matter, just as long as we're helping somebody, because we all can help them in some kind of way, for as real estate, for taxes, for marriage, for all kind of things. So we can help them in some kind of way if they just want to be fed the information. Sometimes people don't know how to do, like, starting a business, what they need to do, whether they need a business plan. And a business plan is not always a detailed, long out, something you need to write it down. If you don't need funding, you don't have to do a business plan that's 5 or 10 pages. You just need to do something that you can have a guidance of where you plan on going the next 3 to 5 years, at least 5. So you'll know where you're going, because you got to have a roadmap to where you're going. Everybody that has a business that's successful has a roadmap. And if you don't have a roadmap, there's going to be some stops along the way, because you're not going to know where you're going next. If something happened, what is the plan when that happened? You got to have a plan, because if you don't, you're going to be lost. So it's always, we just can feed them all this information. We can bring them to the water. What is the saying? You bring them to the well, or don't mean they're not gonna drink it. Or I forgot the saying. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes, we know.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, we can just.
I just wanted, I'm sorry, I didn't know you, I'm sorry, Tina.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, one of the things that I work with when it comes to my clients is sometimes we don't realize that we are worth the things that, that you should be thinking about. And it goes into that self-love, that self-worth, that self-esteem, that self-respect, all the things that we have to look at ourselves to find. And if we don't have it, then of course we're going to go get some Jordans. Of course we're going to get, the latest phone, because that is what makes us feel good.
Yeah.
In putting something concrete together. And even something as simple as saving for a rainy day.
Yeah.
We always anything can happen. We can run into a situation where we're going to need money. And for some reason, we'll probably think, well, I can go ask such and such, instead of saying, no, I have money now. Let me put money to the side for that rainy day, because it's gonna come. The rainy day is coming, right?
Yes.
But you have to have that self-worth, that self-love, that self-esteem to feel it, to know that you are worthy of having something substantial. And if you don't have it, you're never going to get it. You're just not going to get that thought process of that you're worth whatever you're trying to seek, whatever a dream you're trying to fulfill. You're worth it. And it's a matter of understanding that you're worth it, so that you can it's nothing wrong with buying nice things, but what else should you be using your money for before you go buy the nice things, you know?
Yeah, what you put to the side.
Yeah, and I one of the things that I work on is, that self-love, that self-care. All of that comes into play when you're trying to work on yourself. And I just find that we as a people struggle with that because of all the things that we've gone through. And let's not leave out childhood trauma, right? The traumas of life, and I deal with that too. I'm a child of childhood trauma, and I studied it extensively to understand me, right?
Yeah.
My craziness and why I do or why I did the things that I did, and I think that if we could just get that, if we could understand the traumas of life and how the traumas have affected us to the point where we are stagnant, where sometimes you have to think about, why are you overeating? Why are you drinking? Why are you gambling? All those things, it comes from something that's happened to you that makes you not worthy enough to take care of yourself properly. So all things come into play when we're trying to get people to understand that they need us, that they need to find what can work for them instead of stuffing things down their mouth and drinking and drugs, all those things. One of the things that my family member was a drug addict. And the bottom line is the problem is still there. When you're no longer taking those drugs, the problem that you felt like you needed to take the drugs for, it's still there.
Yeah.
It didn't go away. And as a matter of fact, oh, by the way, you just made it worse.
Yes.
And we need to get that piece, right? We need to understand that where we are trying to medicate ourselves and try to soothe ourselves, the things that are not good for us are actually harming us even more. So all these things that we're talking about tonight, all these things that we're seeing that, and I love everybody's comments too, because every person that said something tonight, it resonates because it's so real. It is so real.
Yeah.
And the more we come together like this and talk about it and allow people to understand that you're just one step away from being successful in whatever success looks like for you. Right?
Yes.
Success looks like for you. You're one step away, but you got to take the step where you want to be.
Man,
Yes.
that's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
You know what I'm understanding? I really think that the trajectory of our conversation tonight really is going from just the ground floor level of what we're talking about coming together to build. The first thing we got to build is each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that happens when we come together. We start to understand and see, hey, you're not alone. I'm not alone. Some of the same things you're feeling, some of the same things I'm feeling, some of what you experience is what I'm experiencing. That becomes the first thing that starts to build that relationship. That if you think about it, the way God made us all, He made us all as relational beings. Everything in creation is about relationship.
Yeah.
The more we build those relationships, man, I think this is a great start to look at this. Let's pull up this chair for a minute and let's talk about what's holding us back.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's eating us up inside. What's causing us to feel such rage and such emotion and that's going in the negative. Let's talk about that. Let me see if I can build your esteem. We encourage and strengthen one another, right? I found out, I study Hebrew a lot, and one of the most beautiful words in the word in Hebrew is the word encourage. The word encourage in the Hebrew actually means to repair. That's what we do. When we encourage each other, we repair each other from damage that has been done, from the traumas that we've experienced and stuff in our life. Encouragement is a mechanism that God has given us to repair. So, man,
it's a medicine for our soul.
This is good.
Yes, this conversation is great. I'm really enjoying. I hope that your audience really does get something out of it, because like Demetrius is saying, the support is here. The support is here. We're all going through this life doing the best we can, and we have something to offer. We, just like I said, I'm a child of childhood trauma. I know what it's like to be traumatized. I know what it's like to work my way out of it, and also to realize I have triggers. They come back. They don't. But because I've learned how to deal with them, I catch them before they get out of hand. And sometimes our triggers can just spin us out of control, right? But I just want people to understand that we're all here for you. We're all here to support you. The knowledge that we have, the training that we've had, really can help you. And the things that we've gone through, I have over 40 years of marriage, right? Believe, I can talk a lot about marriage. I can tell you all about the ups and downs and all around when it comes to marriage. I'm serious. And of course, like I said, I've studied childhood trauma. So I can help you through your childhood trauma in your marriage, in your relationships, right? Along with my 40 years of knowledge in marriage. So we just want everyone to understand that we are bringing something to the table, and we're for you. We're bringing it for you. It's just a matter of you taking that step and being willing to accept it.
And you know, mental health is a big issue in Black community. They don't want to. It's a stigma. They don't want to talk about it or deal with it. And I Coach Mion Thomas, she is a coach on mental health. So I think she's having a class workshop today, or I can't exactly remember what it is. She helps with mental health. Like, she's not I think a psychiatrist, but she helps help people work through that their issues. Not maybe if she can't help them, she'll send them to somewhere else. The last time I talked to her, I think that's what she told me. But if we talk about that, mental health has a lot to do with our self-esteem and actually moving forward and stop and all the negativity we have towards ourselves and others, and why we have it so bad for each other and loving on everybody else.
But Tina, it starts with us loving on ourselves.
Yeah.
If we love ourselves, we can't love anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, we act like we love other people. We gotta love ourselves first.
Yeah.
It's actually a scriptural principle, right? When Christ was asked the question, what was the greatest commandment? The first thing he said was that you to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your might, with all your soul. The second one is like unto it. That's the key. That you love your neighbor. Here it is.
Oh, you went on mute, Demetrius. You went on mute.
You're on mute, Demetrius.
On mute.
Still on it.
You know.
We want to hear what you got to say.
You got excited there. Go. We didn't hear you.
Excited. Yeah.
No, it says it literally, the principle says, you know, that he says you are to love Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might. Then you are to love your neighbor the way you love yourself. That's the principle. If I don't love myself, it is impossible to love other people, right? It's just not possible. I really, you know, even and it's so interesting. Like I said, in this series that we've, I don't know how long we've been in this series, okay, on these matters of the heart and the mind, because this is such a big thing. And one of the things that I'm even finding, even in our church experience, that sometimes, we are trying to utilize, because, the Bible says that people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. It's not because there's a lack of Holy Spirit. It's not because there's a lack of good church. He says we're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And there's certain things that we just don't possess the knowledge of. And even in some things that we have knowledge of, the step to apply the knowledge that we get and that we have, that's the work part of it, that we have to get in there and we have to actually apply that knowledge. Because I'm finding that in a lot of ways, the Bible says that God has given to us everything that pertains to life and godliness. Everything, absolutely everything we need, he's already given it to us. The issue is we have to learn to be better facilitators of what we've been given, better stewards of what we've been given. We've been given his word, we've been given his spirit, we've been given a community, we've been given so many different tools that we can take advantage of. But, a lot of times we just, I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to talk about it. We're just going to put on the church face when we're going to come in. And then when something happens that triggers me, then before we know it, we all on, what's that, a social media site where these people boxing in the church, because there's trauma, right? There's things that are unresolved, right? And we having good church and we speaking in tongues and we running and we dancing and we doing all of these things, but that's never really being dealt. We don't really get down to the heart of the matter and to like the root of the issue. And even the Bible says in the book of James, he says, confess your faults one to another and pray for one another, and the effectual, that you may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of the righteous avails much. You gotta have some confession. Got to kind of really talk about this. Got to really be able to be honest and be able to say, hey, this is where I am. This is what's going on with me. Right now, I'm not feeling it. Right now, I'm not having a good day. I'm not having a good moment. I'm struggling with this. And I need to be able to say that to somebody who's not going to look down on me, who's not going to look at me funny, who's not going to look at me out of the corner of the eye. Well, I thought you're supposed to be a pastor. I thought you're supposed to be the deacon of the church. No, I'm a person who's trying to work through something.
Yes.
And if there's anywhere I'm supposed to be able to get help, it gotta be in and among the people that, say they love God. Because if you love people, right? When we take everything, all the religious stuff that we've learned off of the Bible, off what we learned about the Bible, there's only 3 things that God is trying to get us to do throughout the whole Bible. That's to love him right, to love ourselves right, and to love other people right. That's the whole word. All the instructions in the word is about those 3 things. How do I love God? I love him this way. How do I love myself? I love myself this way. And then how do I love people? I love people this way. That's all it's about, right? But we struggling in that area, and I believe that's our good point to start. As I said, that we're gonna work on building each other, because if we get you built up, oh man, when we start doing business, man, we talking about, people with the right mentality, right mindset. I'm not distrustful of you because of something that was in my past, and I can't divorce myself from what was in my past. And now I'm seeing everything through that lens of what was, or what my experience was. And I'm dealing with you and I'm handling with you and I'm retracting, my support because, oh no, this is what we got to build from the ground level right here. Our hearts and our minds, our mentalities. This is what we got to start building. We got to do it with just as much passion as we were fighting the other day.
Yes, yes, that's that most definitely. Yeah, loving on each other, because we gotta love on each other. We are somebody to be. We are royalty, as far as I'm concerned.
Amen.
Yeah. So I appreciate y'all for this conversation. We should do this again whenever y'all want, so we can talk more.
Please.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Talk more and bring other people in on the conversation, because this is, we're going to sit down and talk about these things so we can work through it.
Mhm.
We can work through it and build each other up, because it's all about building each other up, because we as a community need to do that. We need to stop being separate and being that Montgomery fight. We seen right then that we can come together if need be, if that meant something to them to come there and help and render aid to that man. And if we thought about that in everything we did, I'm gonna come and help you. I'm not gonna just pass you by and not even acknowledge you, because you could just be acknowledgement. It could be a like, or it could be a share. It could be anything, just something to support it. Because I think about people don't want to support other people's business, especially if say Black business, because they don't like, if they buy something, they don't get good customer service. Well, I have been to Walmart and didn't have good customer service, and I still walked out of that store with that stuff I had
And went back.
and went back.
And with that,
So
yeah.
that thing about, oh, Black business don't do this and don't do that, there's many businesses don't do it and they not Black, but you still go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the point too. So that's the thing. We are too hard on each other.
Yes.
And that us being too hard on each other comes from distrust. Listen, my brother, my sister, okay, they had to start their restaurant. They didn't have all the matching furniture. They had to pull together chairs and stools and whatever they had to do. But here's the thing. I'm encouraged that they start. I find myself when I go places, I intentionally go. Not that I want to see anybody else, not be successful, but I understand how much support we need and how much support we don't get. So I intentionally try to find out where we are. I literally go into my Google and I look and search BOB, Black owned business, and I really go in there and I try to find out. And if I see something that I think probably could be an improvement, I'll pull them to the side and say, hey, so I know you're working through this, and I know maybe this this is your business, and you're working on it. Maybe you can think about this next time, or maybe you can think about maybe adding this. I'm giving constructive criticism. Not about to go on Facebook and go on all these places and oh, this chicken that wasn't seasoned. No, I wouldn't do that, because sometimes
they didn't do that at Chili's.
We're too hard on each other, and it comes from those mentalities. I mean, there's so many things we can get into. We can get into Willie Lynch letter. We can get into, it's so much that we can get into.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about love next time, how we can love on each other.
I love that.
That's powerful. I love that.
Yes.
And
go ahead.
Coach Debra and Pastor Demetrius, I will be in touch, because a lot of my clients need you, and we need you guys. Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Can I mention that I am going to do it's called Intimacy Blueprint Masterclass, and it's about intimacy in your marriage, in your relationships, because a lot of times when we think about intimacy, we automatically think about sex, but there's so much more about intimacy before you even get to the sex part, right?
Yeah.
I would love for people to come to my masterclass. It's going to be on August the 28th and the 30th. So it's a 2-day masterclass. And right now, I have a early bird special going on for it. So if you don't mind, may I tell them what it is?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. It is Deeper Love School, right? deeperloveschool.com/intimacy. And if you can always go to Nurture Your Love on Instagram, I'm going to be putting it out there as well. But I just wanted to share this because it's a passion of mine to really teach you how to love. It's all about loving on you, but being able to love yourself in the right way and your partner in the right way. But you need to understand the place of intimacy in your life before you get to the bedroom. And that's just something I really wanted to share. And I hope that people will be interested in joining on August the 28th and the 30th. So just wanted to throw that.
Okay. Coach Jeanine and Demetrius, y'all have any final words?
Yes,
No,
I would love some more. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
What
I
about
would
you?
love to
It's you.
see some more of this because Pastor Jimmy, she just said, oh, we need more pastor active like this in the community because this has been my prayer to see, because I work mostly with leaders. I said, Lord, we need more Pastor Demetrius because he needs to wake people up, leaders up, because many of our young people, they're dying because of lack of information, and they're focusing on social media. Social media become the education. So to me, I'm an auntie. So I was like, I really, really need to talk with them and make sure. I'm glad that I found you. Thank you, Coach Tina, because a lot of our parents, especially a lot of brothers that I work with, I will be really connecting, Pastor Demetrius and Coach Debra. Oh my goodness. Yes. So I'm so honored. Thank you so much, Coach Tina.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I'm honored and definitely glad to be a part of this conversation. I'm glad that this thing was just kind of inspired, and there's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways that people are taking that situation in Montgomery here and there. I've seen some negative fallout from what this whole situation has been, but I'm trying to encourage everybody. Let's stop swinging these chairs around and let's unfold them. Let's sit down for a minute and let's have a conversation and see how we can do something better. And let's see how we can do, because we can do more than fight, or we can fight in more than one way.
Yeah.
And so I'm just hoping that we would be like a match that lights that fire, to say, okay, look, we're going to start right here and we're going to have this conversation and we're going to help as many people as we can to come out of the wrong mentalities so that we really can effectively do what we need to do and change the trajectory of our generations. Because, right now it's just really not necessarily in some ways going the direction that it should go. But, we have everything that's necessary and essential to do it. And so I'm committed to doing what I can. I'm so glad to have connected face-wise. Right? Yeah. I know we've been on the messenger chat, here and there talking about articles and whatnot, but it's good to put faces there, and I'm looking for the opportunity where we can even collaborate face to face and even talk about some things and see what we can do in our part to kind of make a difference.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I thank y'all for coming on. I'm all about bringing us together and helping. So if y'all can collaborate with each other, I'm all for it, because I am not a selfish person. I want to share it all. I mean, because like I said, it's only one me and one you. So I appreciate y'all for coming on, and I we'll be talking soon.
Okay.
Thank
you. Good night, everybody. I've enjoyed it.
So nice to
Thank
see
you.
you.
Absolutely. Thank you,
right.
guys.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.